Hear ye, hear ye. Mr. Overzet is not in the building, so we had to bring on a heavy hitter. We had to bring on an award-winning media guru who is going to help this show, especially after the NFL Combine. We have a lot to talk about. And so with that being said, it's going to be the late round Swolecast today with our guest, JJ Zachariason, sponsored by IKB. Thanks for tuning in.
Are you David Mattek from the Swolecast? I was like, yep, that's me.
I just want you guys to know I'm total dust. I'm the problem.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Leave it to the guy with the crypto dunes, Abby, to not understand context.
I should have known you getting 30 likes was directly written by someone else.
You know me, I don't do a ton of research before the show.
I've put no research into this. Don't know if it's true at all.
You're on the right show.
To it, bro. Live a little.
Live a little.
Just live a little, guys.
All right, welcome in. It's the Swolecast presented by IKB. I'm David Kitchen, alongside Davis Mattek and special guest JJ Zachariason. You might know him as Late Round QB. You might see his title for the audio listeners. His title is just Kitchen's Boss, and that's correct. He is my boss. So welcome, JJ, to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm not going to be able to fill Overzet's shoes, but hopefully I'll get like to 70% of Overzet for show.
I can't wait to hear JJ's overview.
Definitely not happening. Definitely not happening.
And Peter did not reach out to me, letting me know that he needed me to do the overview. You know, I thought basically in absentia he would just write the jokes, maybe even pre-record a little video. You know, you get these classic, it's very Gen Z thing. They're like walking somewhere and they have the corded headphones and they're like talking into it. They hold it.
Yeah.
Like I thought kind of Peter as a really young man would fulfill that role for us, and he didn't, which is a little disappointing, frankly, Peter.
Well, without Pete on the show, though, I mean, he's kind of more the entertainment comedy guy. I feel like now we can really actually talk about football, like we can get our hands dirty, finally, just the three of us, and really get after it. You've
been working so hard on prospecting that, you'll be able to share those gems.
That's right. I've been working hard, and the results might not show, but I'm working hard. And also, just want to give a little bit of an update. Since joining JJ, I'm down 14 pounds. 14 pounds. I'm basically like Tez Johnson, a little bit heavier than Tez Johnson right now.
A little bit heavier than Tez.
I'm pretty sure Tez is like 30 pounds lighter than Davis.
About 20 now, but yeah, he's like Tez Johnson would be next to me at the gym. We'd both be bench pressing, and I'd look over at him and I'd be like, "Skinny bitch." I'd be like, like I'm imagining an NFL safety tackling me, full pads, helmet, everything, and then imagining what it would be like to get up after that. It's like Xavier Worthy. Remember, we were all Xavier Worthy, man. He can't beat the press. Tutu Atwell. Oh, Tutu Atwell, way too small. Tutu Atwell looks at Tez Johnson and is like, "Damn, dude, you need to eat. You need to get in the gym, Tez." I don't know if people have really conceived of how small 154 pounds is. It's very small, and he's not even that fast.
No, he's not fast enough. Well, that's the thing is that like if you look at comps of his, like if you want to look at size comps, Tutu Atwell was a pound lighter at the combine than Tez, right? Tutu Atwell ran the 40 sub 40 or sub 4.4 rather.
Yeah.
And so Tez going at 4.51. I know it doesn't like really matter, but it kind of does. Like I think it's going to impact his draft capital a lot. The fact that he was
of course when he's that small.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I didn't even look at his speed score. It's got to be like 6.
Okay, someone said his speed score in some of the drills though really good. So maybe he's got like game speed.
He's
you
no, he's
know?
got agility.
He crushed the 3-cone, but it's like I don't know how much it matters if you avoid getting tackled, because eventually when you do get tackled, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt.
Yeah, I
He's
just
got
go
Go ahead,
I'm not trying to take over and start talking about
no, it's
I
okay.
can talk about Tez Johnson for
Hey,
a half hour.
hey, don't you apologize on this show. Don't you dare apologize on this show. All right. Some people just shout out to the comments. Many are saying this Swolecast needs a less frail third host.
There's this big joke going around about, and I actually don't even know how it began, about Peter being frail, but I am.
Someone said it
encouraging
on this chat. On this
Yes.
chat.
That it's just it's going around in the YouTube streets, in the nexus of people who are streaming drafts right now. I don't know where it started, but it is very funny to me, the idea of Peter being frail, because in the context of fantasy football analysts, I assume Peter is top 0.07% in terms of muscular
Like
output,
fitness,
ability to do work.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. We invite your comments. This is an interactive show. Also, if you're watching this after it's live, just feel free to leave a comment and let JJ know how good of a job I'm doing here on the Swolecast and how lucky he is. Also, want to shout out our sponsors, ikb.gg. So appreciate the fine folks at IKB. I know ball. They know ball. So with that being said, is the Swolecast being annexed? No.
I hope not.
JJ is going to be just like a talkative Tuttle on this show, basically.
What would that even look? What would that even look like?
Yeah, I'm like so basically nothing like Tuttle.
Just like he brings like some of the knowledge takes. JJ, behind the scenes, you're Saturday just writing away, watching the combine, doing all this stuff. Like, I want to know like your setup as you're watching this stuff. Did you have like a monitor in front of you and then you're like typing on the side as it's coming in? Like, take us through your process.
Well, I put on a nice robe first.
Yeah.
Come up to my office, get cozy, get a cup of tea chino, get settled. No, I mean, look, I'm watching the combine like everyone else is. I just have to update blurbs and write blurbs, and the combine stuff affects on my end with the prospect model and what I'm looking for. It's more so running backs that I care about than wide receivers, but there's going to be some instances like Tez Johnson where I'm like, okay, that was really weird. So as running backs are like running their 40, I'm inputting that to get speed scores, and then I send that speed score tweet out every year just to people like it. It's free engagement. And then I just start like looking at comps and seeing what these prospects were all about, and I just start writing profiles. I mean, I think on Saturday, what was it like? End up writing about 30 profiles or so. I did the whole running back class basically on Saturday.
Yeah. Can you tell people what I've been doing though?
You've been really, really great support. Emotionally.
And this guy's gonna be bigger and better than ever. Tell him what I've been doing. Tell him the
It's gonna be great. Kitchen's putting really, really nice colors in there.
Thank you. Team colors.
No one is better at lorem ipsum and color matching and finding the exact jersey number that's needed. Dave, by the way, we had a classic Socrdave fake news situation. Classic Socrdave from the members only carrying over. I've been corrected multiple times now. Herzig reached out to me in the DMs. Multiple people have reached out to me. The pronunciation of Bhayshul Tuten that you tried to tell me is wrong. It is not Tuten. It is Tuten.
Yeah.
Bhayshul Tuten.
That's how I've been saying it. And Kitchen gets mad at me every single time.
No, Dave is wrong. It's from
Go to the Virginia Tech website.
It's wrong. It's wrong.
Just add a little bit. It's not
also
210. It's like
you guys know that and one of the ones that I learned this weekend, because I usually when I watch these guys, I'm usually writing and I'll have like YouTube highlights and stuff just to get like a good idea of like who they are. But I'm not. Number one, yeah, Jalen Knoll was one that I didn't realize was not Noel, but it's Jalen.
This
Knoll.
is important, though. I heard you on the award-winning Late Round podcast talk about this. Released this morning. It's good. But this is important because it gets out of the gate and people just take it. Like Kamara, Mariota. Both those guys got like wrong.
Achan.
So
but
it's like,
really the weird thing with college players is that like they go their entire collegiate careers without correcting anyone. Like they don't do anything.
And then sometimes they change it.
Right.
Sometimes, frick, I'm not going to remember who.
Devon Achan added an apostrophe to his first name.
Yes, but there was a guy 1 or 2 years ago who had one pronunciation of his name in the NFL, and then just like one day came to camp.
Alberto.
Like, actually, no, that's Akui Bunum. But there's another. I'm not going to remember the guy, but there was a guy who asked his name pronunciation to change after multiple years in the NFL.
Yeah,
it's not 210, and I don't think it's
It was this. It was Tyler.
Oh yeah,
bad.
It was Tyler. Well, shit. What did he change to?
No. It was Beatty. Everyone thought it was Beatty,
and then he wanted to be
Bidet.
Yeah. There you go. Thank you, B-Spurf. That is exactly what I was thinking of. Tyler Bidet.
Yeah. Tyrod Taylor's another one.
Tyrod Taylor. I've just never gotten that one right. I just have never said Tyrod.
That's how I am with Alvin Kamara. I just go back and forth with both pronunciations.
Yeah. How do you say it? How do you say his name?
It depends on the day. I literally change it every time I do a show. It's different.
It's Kamara.
Oh, I thought it was Kamara. All right, I'm looking it up on.
It's like Camaro. That might be wrong. It's the opposite of Mariota and Mariota. One of I think it's Mariota.
Yeah, but I don't know that one either.
And I think it's Camara.
On Pro Football Reference.
Yeah.
Pronunciation is Camara.
Yeah.
So there you go.
It's like I remember like Camaro. You know, like The Office when he does.
I think I say Camara.
I'd probably chop and change that one.
And people say Mariota and it's Mariota. So
is it Mariota officially?
Yes, it's Mariota.
Because Camara, because that's the okay. I got you.
Yeah.
Let's actually just do the biggest debate point here, and then we can move on to some other nonsense, guys. I'm sorry, Overzet.
This is a barrel chest right here.
I do have one thing that I should have that I do think that Overzet would have shared today. And that's it's not in a joke format, but it's a little story that I want to tell everyone.
If it's the one that I think it is, it's really, really good.
So we're doing the prospect guide, right? And I'm going through, I'm writing all this stuff, and then Kitchen's like helping design it and making it look pretty because we're using a different program for it this year than I have in the past. And he went in one night and was like changing colors and like, doing all this kind of stuff. And afterwards, he messages me the next day and he's like, look, everything looks great, but there's one thing that I do have to shout out. And it's that in the player pages, I have like their name, height, weight, comps, their ZAP scores, and then they have their school, right? And for people for players who went to that one SEC school down south that Eli Manning went to, right? I write Mississippi out for that school. And Kitchen decides that throughout the entire guide, he's going to change all the Mississippis to Ole Miss. Okay. Which, like
that's if you go to their website.
I'm an SEC guy. It's got to be Ole Miss. Whenever
their website is olemiss.edu.
I got you look at some of these guys like UNLV. I write it out Nevada, Las Vegas, right?
No, you write out Nevada, Las Vegas.
Yeah,
for
the
way white.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's
right?
UNLV
instead of UNLV. So I then took a step back and I was like, you know what? I've never really done the due diligence to really like understand what Ole Miss stems from and like what it comes from or anything like that. so I was curious, and so I
wonder what it could possibly be.
I went and I Googled it, and the first article, I screenshotted it and I actually sent it to Overzet. It says, "The battle over Ole Miss: why a flagship university has stood behind a nickname with a racist past." And then it all made sense. It all made sense.
OAN Dave, they call him. OAN
No,
Dave, they call
they
him.
don't. That's Gundy. I'm just saying, since we're talking about this, like I think we should shorten them. You know, I think.
Well, we're
I
gonna
think-
shorten Mississippi apparently because I haven't fought back on that.
Yeah, but when you have like Texas agriculture and mechanical on there, you know that's too many characters for Texas A&M.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, but like
that's
it's
all
like
I'm
Virginia Tech. Like we're not gonna put poly whatever it is, like the full
Polytechnical Institute.
yeah.
Right. I'm saying let's just use what people know them as.
In my
Like
in my
when you first
spreadsheet-
see like today, like I saw like Southern California, and I was like, "Oh, that's USC." And
Yeah,
I
but
just
there's
think we
also,
should put
to be
USC.
fair with like USC, there's also South Carolina that people will think that like we
Okay.
definitely can't go abbreviations. We definitely can't go abbreviations.
Okay,
I-
I will
I
give you
understand-
that.
I understand Ole Miss versus Mississippi. If you want to be a little racist, that's okay. But like the like UNL, like you could say Nevada, Las Vegas. People know that's UNLV. See,
I think you should
is-
match
it
like
is
what
very much.
ESPN does. That's what I think. But
a lot of
that's just me.
it is a data problem in terms of just like matching and all and stuff.
Matching.
It's pretty annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my spreadsheets, I do have it Ole Miss.
JJ, you
I
hear
have it as
you hear this guy in his spreadsheets?
Just must be what ChatGPT lets me do. If,
I didn't realize that you had spreadsheet. I've seen your Marquise Wilson write up. I didn't know that you did.
that one
more
Drew
than just-
Dinkmeyer $1 million, brother.
Just your. He looks really good in my prospect model, actually. Marquise Wilson.
Well, he would. Yeah. Very early production. You know who I'm just while we're talking about UNLV, I am bummed out that Ricky White was like a 4.95.
I think he's.
guy.
I got to say, I think that Ricky White's a little bit overrated by the community.
He blocked
Yeah.
4 punts last year.
I mostly.
That should be such an indicator of dog. Like Ricky White's got to have like lead dog.
One of the things that like I've noticed this year more than any year, I think, is, and maybe it's just because I'm looking out for it more, but I think there's not enough adjusting going on when it comes to the programs that these players play at and like the way that people are analyzing data from those players. So like Ricky White playing against weaker competition throughout his collegiate career, even like Bhayshul Tuten to a degree, people are going to reference like his freshman, sophomore year. He played at North Carolina A&T, which is where I believe Tariq Cohen went there too. But of course he's going to have better production there, right? So like the ZAP model tries to adjust for all of that. But a lot of times people like gravitate toward, if you look at like the favorite sleepers by folks, it's always players that had like this flashy production profile, age adjusted production profile, but they did it at smaller schools and smaller programs.
But that is where there is value to be found. NFL teams are
Sometimes.
mostly going to be efficient at drafting Power 5 school players. They are going to have full workout stuff on them. They're going to have had scouts at their games. They're going to have access to all 22 for all of their games. All these teams are going to evaluate them in the same way. But Group of 5 or even D2, FCS, whatever, teams are going to have different processes on evaluating them.
I think it depends. What I mostly mean is like, if they go to a really small school and you like them as a prospect, you better hope that those numbers are not just like above average at that school. And you're comparing the raw numbers to the rest of the class. They need to be like extraordinarily good. Like Jalen Cokers at Holy Cross, like were very, very, very like out of control good, right? Isaac Tesla in this class, he played at Hillsdale College, right? For his first, like before he went to Nebraska or wherever. And of course his numbers are going to be wild, right? But that's what makes like what Trey Harris did last year.
I call this the Aaron Millett syndrome. He went to Elon University. But all I need to know is, are you woke to this game? This was Ricky White's
to Ricky White.
This was Ricky White's first ever college start. Michigan State versus Michigan.
I don't think I ever realized that.
In the big house, teammates with Jalen Naylor, teammates with Jaden Reed, teammates with Connor Hayward, all NFL players. And Ricky White went 8 for 196 and 1 in his first ever college start.
And then
in a
he still-
win against Michigan. And then I don't remember if it was domestic violence, marijuana, whatever, but he got kicked off the team for behavioral stuff. And that was why he had to go to UNLV.
I don't
Analytically,
think
he's
like
a
bad-
super
I don't think
fun.
he's a bad prospect, but he's
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was about to say. Analytically, he's a super fun prospect to monitor.
Yeah.
Wow, Dave. Look at you. Look at David contributing to
Davis,
the
we just got to be
conversation.
grounded. Sometimes in the fantasy football world, there's this crossover between analytics and knowing ball. And so if you think about White, you think he'd be a smash
I bet you
target
spend a
just
lot of
looking
time
at
thinking about White, David.
Yeah, no, stop. Just for someone in the chat said, "Is Kitchen really racist?" No, I'm being stereotyped because I live in the South.
No,
That's what it is.
Feels like if you get kicked off a team for conduct, Las Vegas might not be the best place to transfer. Hey, he mostly kept his nose clean, I think, based on reports. All right, JJ, this is really what I wanted to argue about, though, because
Oh, boy. Is it Travis Hunter? We gotta have a Travis Hunter seg.
We can talk about Travis Hunter, but no, I want to talk about Bhayshul Tuten.
Okay.
And I want to talk about him in the context of people who are drafting right now. They're in the big board. And I've heard this, workout numbers don't matter. Fast guys are overrated, yada, yada, so on and so forth. And I think the data mostly says that's true, right? That the super fast guys divorce from their production. But the big thing that we know is what NFL teams value. They value speed. I think the combine took Tuten from a round 6 pick as the 22nd running back off the board to a guy who could pretty conceivably go pick 69 or whatever.
Nice. I think that the thing that I would disagree with like consensus is that like pre-draft, like I talked about this on my running back episode that I did about players who produced like studs in college. Pre-draft or pre-combine rather, Tuten looked good. Like I mentioned him on the show, which is what Kitchen messaged me then.
Very productive.
Yeah,
90,
like not even
94% dominator rating.
Yeah, I mean some of that again, like he started at North Carolina A&T, but he then went to Virginia Tech and he had good production at Virginia Tech. He was a solid pass catcher. He has he had in his 2 years at Virginia Tech, he had reception shares of 13% and 12%, which is totally fine and normal and solid, right? So after the combine, after he ran that 40, which I was excited for because I thought that he might run fast. I mentioned it in our Discord before it all happened. And I didn't think he would run a 4.32, but do you know who his top comp in the Zap model is right now? I know Kitchen does. Any guesses, Davis?
Give me a hint. Give me a hint.
He's a round 2 guy.
Here, look at the screen. I'm giving you a hint.
Over the last 4 years, 3 years.
He gives me kind of Charbonnet vibes.
So it's it's Kenneth Walker was his top comp.
Yeah.
They're like he's 5'9", 206. They're built really similarly. Both ran really fast 40s. Now, Walker's biggest knock analytically in my model at least was he had a low reception share in college, but I redid breakout score, which is like my age adjusted production metric that I use in the model. And for running backs, I'm using receiving yards per team pass attempt, which is the exact same thing that I use for wide receivers. It adjusts for age and program strength and strength of schedule for that individual season. Kenneth Walker had a really low reception share, but his breakout score was good, like solid, like almost elite, right? And so Tuten like lines up a lot with the metrics that the model looks at. And the speed is there. Anyone who says that like 40 times at running back are irrelevant, I would strongly disagree.
No, that's so cap. That's
right.
Huge cap.
Yeah.
At like every level.
If you've listened to the show for a while, everyone, you know that one of the favorites on this show was Jerick McKinnon, JMK. JJ?
You got woke so late to Jerick McKinnon. I knew about
No,
Jerick
I did not.
when he was a triple option quarterback.
Okay. I was not late though. In fact, I stayed with him year 3 when everybody else got off the ship. I was still
Are
leading the
people-
charge.
Are people of this show old enough in the fantasy football environment to remember when Jerick McKinnon existed as a second-round pick early in the very first BBM, and then he tore his ACL in the preseason?
Yeah, it's
Are
so
people,
bad. Like
are people woke enough to remember? They might not
those
be.
first 2 years are terrible, but the third comp for Tuten in the guide is Jerick McKinnon.
You know what? That actually, just like watching them run, that makes total sense.
Yeah,
to me.
the second one though is Darrington Evans.
Yeah, I
which
was
is
gonna.
funny.
I wasn't gonna.
But it
mention
all like again.
You
What
no
these
comp set is going to be all hits.
Yeah, right. And these comps, like the comps are based off of size, speed, production, right? Some of these guys, like Jerick McKinnon, didn't have a normal production profile because of what he did in college. Like he played like quarterback and stuff.
He was
Like
a quarterback.
yeah. So it wasn't like a normal production
Was
profile.
it Georgia State that he played
But
for?
yeah, I think though
Georgia
that
Southern,
what
I think.
whenever I get comps that like are kind of all over the place in terms of range of outcomes, but there is that high end outcome, like that tells me that there's volatility, but we should be chasing those higher end outcomes, in my opinion, which is why I think Tuten is someone that we should have on our radar. We should be drafting because there is that high range. Whereas some of these running backs, there's just not, like, you can't find a single player that matches well, that a good player that matches well with them.
Davis, you were giving like some RIP tweets out there after on the combine. Are you standing by those, or have you like come back? Do you think those a little bit knee-jerk reaction-y, or are those
Davis
just
knee jerk?
Or-
Scatterbo is dead.
You think,
Scatterbo's
you think he's because he didn't run? He had
no. Well, it may be in a normal class where there's like normal running backs. Like last year, Skattebo could have still been a 3rd-round pick. But if I'm on the board, it's pick 92. I think that's right about the comp pick range. I'm like, all right, I need a running back. Am I going to take the 219-pound guy from Arizona State who didn't test? I guess he had really good jumps. He had really good jumps.
Dog, though. He's a dog.
Or am I just going to take Damian Martinez, who did everything like a 110 speed?
I think Skattebo is way better than Damian Martinez.
I mean, I don't even disagree with you. I like Skattebo and would be happy to have him on the Chiefs or whatever. But he's going day 3, and not that day 3 is a death sentence, but what going from round 2, round 3 to the next subset is it's basically just tossing a running back into a random number generator.
Do you want to hear his comps?
Yes.
Kareem Hunt.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's the favorable comp. And then it's the same guys that we would talk about comping to Kareem Hunt when they came out, which is Zach Moss and Keyshawn Vaughn.
I was right. You remember Kadeem Carey?
Yeah, remember Kadeem.
That one makes just like uber productive, but then didn't test.
I mean, look, he has a really, really good production profile. Like probably the second best in the class behind Genty, I would say. Maybe you could argue like a Hampton. Maybe you could argue like a.
I'd argue Caleb Johnson
or Caleb Johnson, but Johnson only did it. Johnson didn't do it as
for as many seasons.
Yeah.
You want to know a crazy thing?
Didn't
Caleb
you?
Johnson. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't you like RIP Caleb Johnson though?
Well, Dave, you might not know this, but some of us are in the streets right now spending our own money on fantasy football drafts. I believe
That's what I hear.
Caleb Johnson is my 2nd most drafted running back at this point. And it's not that he's dead, but I just ate the worst of it at his price. He's going to go down 10, 15 spots in ADP. So I have the worst combinations of Caleb Johnson teams, which sucks.
I had him as a loser at the combine only because the class is so good and there were so many winners, right? Like his 40, people are going to make too big of a deal out of his 40 because it's really
fine.
Like his speed score is 103. Like he was never going to be that guy, but we had the opportunity that if he ran sub 4.5, all of a sudden we're talking about him right after probably Hampton.
He could have gone before Hampton if he
ran right. Like as the best or close to the best non-Genty running back potentially, but 4.57. Now he's with like comp wise, like James Conner and stuff, and Daniel Thomas was another one.
They're calling Skattebo Cream Hunt as in
that's
cream.
not even a good nickname because that was Carson Steele's nickname, which by the way is
Don't.
That's
You're
that's
not going to comp Carson Steele to Skattebo, are you?
well, that's the thing you don't want is you don't want him to be that slow.
Yeah.
Because okay, let's just do the mental framework. for
What
this.
do Steele and Skattebo have in common, Davis?
They're probably both slow as shit. Like,
Stereotype much?
If Skattebo
Probably recruited by Ole Miss.
probably recruited by Ole Miss.
No.
So if you think about it, Skattebo, everyone knew this guy's not a burner. It's not his thing. They expected him to run a 4.63, right? Then he doesn't run. How bad is it actually? If everyone expected him to run a 4.6 and he doesn't run,
Yeah, but I
it?
think it does matter because I think that him sitting out is not as bad because look at what happened with Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson ran at expectation, right?
And cost himself money.
And it cost himself money. Yeah. And I think a lot of it, again, goes back to this class is unbelievable. This is the best running back class since 2017. And these guys went out and they tested like freaks. Like we have so many dudes that, I saw Ryan Heath over at Fantasy Points. They have like a spork metric, they call it. It's like their athleticism metric. And I saw him tweet that 6 guys in this running back class were over a 90th percentile score. Since they started tracking this stuff, there hadn't been more than a class with more than 2 running backs in the 90th percentile or better. So like this class has good production profiles and they did like entering the draft or entering the combine, but these 40s were incredible at the sizes that these guys are. I mean, it's just a really, really good class. So a guy like Caleb Johnson running at expectation is actually a bad thing. So I think Skattebo, if he would have run a 4.6 flat or like a 4, do you think he'd be slower than that? 4.65?
I think if he thought he could, I think if he thought 4.59 was even his best run, like the most jazzed up, amped up he could be, he would have done it. And so I did get this question yesterday and I didn't have a good example for it. Justin's asking, aren't explosive jumpers like guys, because his vert and his broad were very good.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't come up with an example in my head of a guy who did have the good explosion numbers.
His vertical was 40 inches.
Yes, and his broad was 11 feet.
Ooh.
Yeah,
but I thought JJ would have a better example.
Because I don't really look at the agility stuff it's only speed score in the model, so I can talk speed scores and like because the other stuff I have not found to correlate enough to NFL success for me to use brain power on it. I mean, like CMC had crazy agility stuff, but he was also fast. I don't know. Elite.
I think
he also was. Those are just jumps too, right? He didn't even do the like 3-cone and stuff.
So I think the deal with Skattebo is he went from being a guy that I think a team could conceivably be like, sure, we'll draft him like we'll draft a starter. I'll draft him in round 3 and we'll sign Rico Dowdle or whoever, and it'll be a competition and whoever plays best gets the ball. Now I think he's being drafted like Jalen Wright, where it's like you are a complimentary piece. We're not drafting you as a quote unquote starter. Do you like Kalel Mullings, JJ? Because I'm pretty into this guy as like a fourth round rookie pick, 20th round big board.
I'm not, but I understand the argument for converted, playing different position, right?
He's a big fella, right? I mean, just for context, we have to give context to those that don't know a lot about these prospects like we do. But he's 6'1", 226.
But he's also a converted linebacker, right? The last one that we saw that was like that was like a Tyler Algier. Remember Algier did it?
So in 2022, he generates 12 combo tackles. Do you ever have a sack? Never had a sack. But then starts being a running back, plays a little bit more running back. Then this last year, I mean, I guess this is kind of cool. He did straight up send one of the cover stars of NCAA 25 to the bench. He played good enough that a guy who was considered good enough by the market to be on the cover of NCAA 25, he did send him to the bench.
I'll say this about him. So obviously there's some extenuating circumstances about his production profile, right? Because he played linebacker. He only played running back. He took over, he started playing running back because they needed bodies, right?
Yeah.
Like three years ago. And then he had the last 2 seasons where he played running back. Last season in particular, he saw his biggest workload. But one of the inputs in the model is reception share, best season reception share. His was, I mean, he had 8 catches in college. So his was 3.4.
Look at his quarterback play.
Sure.
You have a quarterback named Davis. Let me tell you, not a good scene for the University of Michigan to have a quarterback named Davis.
I'll read you something from the guide. Only one running back in the ZAP model with a sub 5% best season reception share has scored more than 10 PPR points per game in one of his first 3 seasons in the league. That one player, Derrick Henry. Like, you got to be freakish to overcome that kind of receiving profile. Not only that, but like, I don't think he's 23 yet, but like, you have to think about like the progression. This is sort of how I started to feel about Luke McCaffrey too, where like he was getting steamed up a lot, and it was fine to throw the dart at him and redraft, whatever, but he was getting steamed up a lot in like rookie drafts even. But it's like and Nick Nash, same deal with Nick Nash this year, where when you switch positions,
I want Nick Nash to happen so bad. He's like the perfect like RotoViz guy, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
He's 25. Like, like
he's almost as old as Tyler Shuck.
Yeah, like it's just like we gotta think about like the human progression of a skill, right? And like with Mullings, he's played running back for like 2 years, right? And he like doesn't have the production profile backing him. Nick Nash, he's played wide receiver full time for like a year, 2 years, but he had one good season,
and he was, to be fair, he was unreal.
But again, this goes back to what I was talking about earlier, where like the adjusting part. He's playing at San Jose State, and
he killed Portland State. Portland State didn't stand a chance against Nick Nash.
But that's where like even his like receiving yards per team pass attempt last year, though, Nick Nash wasn't that like stellar. And then on top of that, he's 25. On top of that, you have to adjust for program. Like, I don't like if Nick Nash goes to the Rams, okay, that's fine. I'll probably be into him. But like the majority of landing spots for a guy like Nash, he even admitted that he still has work that he needs to do, right? And he's 25. How long are you going to wait? You know, like what are the odds that he's going to...
Hey, by the time he's done with his rookie contract, you could just move on from him, dude. Simple process.
That's true.
All right, let's move on. We only have so much time in the show carved out for running backs that will be irrelevant in a few months. So let's talk about a few other things.
I mean, Dave, we have a chance to be the first fantasy show to take Kalel Mullings seriously.
That is a random player to talk about.
Yeah. It's a Swolecast player to talk about. A converted linebacker who is...
I'm so deep into this class. Like, this is the most I've ever analyzed a rookie
Here's my thing. Here's my thing. If you're going to be into Kalel Mullings, why would you not go after some of the early day 3 high speed score guys that we had? DJ Giddens, maybe he'll be day 2 now.
I was going to say DJ Giddens day 2.
Montrell Johnson, right?
He stinks.
How does he stink any more than Mullings?
Frankly,
he's not a converted linebacker.
Frankly, JJ, it's literally, this is my bias coming in from like, because I watch a lot of college football, and I would just watch both of these Florida guys play, Little Etienne and Montrell, and I would just be like, you guys are awful. You just have never hit the hole properly. See, I could not disagree more with this. I frankly, you'd have to find a Montrell does not have great.
Do you know who Montrell's top comp is for me right now? Is Isaiah Pacheco.
Yes.
Which,
to be fair, sound and fury signifying nothing.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think that Pacheco is like a special running back. I think that he found a great spot and he can run hard, obviously. But similar size profile, good speed score, very similar production profile. But yeah, I mean, like, but my point though is that like I would rather throw a dart on a guy like Johnson, who we know has seen hits in the past, as opposed to Mullings, who we just have not at all. We literally not seen it.
Let me take you behind the scenes of the group chat. Titans have the number 1 pick. And it's just a bunch of fighting.
We're in Dave's mega group chat. Okay.
It's mega group chat. Yeah. But there is just this big disagreement on, do you trade down if possible? Because now you have the Jets and possibly Giants interested in number 1. Or could Cam Ward really be legit? Or are you passing on a generational talent?
I
that
don't
is
think
Travis
the
Hunter.
passing-
Like
Oh,
there are
well,
so
yeah.
many people that are now like I feel like Cam Ward and Travis Hunter are just being steamed pretty hard right now. I want to know
The
want to know your
Titans are
thoughts.
trading the pick to the New York Football Giants. The New York Football Giants are taking Cam Ward. So,
That's what you think.
I mean, it's basically what's reported. Like,
Yeah.
Albright sent that tweet out about them trying to trade for Stafford and then followed that up with, well, now they're going to try and trade for Cam Ward. Then Jordan Renan, who generally has pretty good Giants information, has said they're trying to get to one, which I think, and I'm curious JJ's thought on this, is more about them being like, Shadur, we do not want to enter into the Shadur Sanders business and just like, let's just get Cam Ward.
I don't
But
know.
yeah, that's what I think.
My real NFL franchise building brain is not on at all right now because I've just been writing doing individual player analysis and stuff. But yeah, I don't have strong opinions there.
What's your data opinions on Ward? And I actually don't care about Shadur, but how high do you have Jackson Dart, relatively speaking?
I don't do any quarterback stuff, but the stuff that I do look at and then talking to Jim Sonis is one of the best at modeling quarterbacks. I know that he's got Jackson Dart at QB1 in the class. And
Wow,
last year he had Jaden Daniels like healthy above the rest of the class. So he's done well in the past. So I'm intrigued by that. I'm going to have him on the show in a couple weeks to talk about it.
I will say this: when I was doing team colors, I noticed that there were quite a few wide receivers for Miami and Ole Miss.
Who's the other Miami
Yeah,
guy?
and Kitchen went around just changing all the Miami blurbs to just the U.
No.
Restrepo, Arroyo, Damian Martinez. Who else is there for Miami?
Jacoby George. What an idiot. How do you not know that?
Jacoby George is not a draftable prospect. That's a special teamer.
All right.
Maybe not even that, honestly.
I think Restrepo is a little bit overrated too.
He's built like
dare
me.
you?
He's
How
short
dare
and
you?
thick. Restrepo is the only receiver ever at the combine to be shorter than 5'10" and over 205 pounds.
He comped to Amari Rodgers for me.
He's
which was
the
the Malachi Corley comp last year from me. Yeah. It's kind of that same. But
Corley. I mean, what we
Corley
ever
could
know
run routes.
about Corley. Corley could have been
Weren't
a
we
fine
excited
NFL
about
player.
Amari Rodgers too? Like when he came out?
Yes.
Yeah, well, no, people. So this is the Debo Samuel kind of like build and mold. Not that Restrepo is going to be like that, but like that's how people talked about Amari Rodgers. That's how people talked about Malachi Corley. But Restrepo also gets like a Bruce Ellington comp, another slot that like can be serviceable. His production profile is just not strong enough, and he played a really high number ran a really high number of routes out of the slot. And in recent history, for top 100 picks, we haven't seen any hits from guys who have run so many routes from the slot out of the slot. It's been like KJ Hamler, Trey Tucker, Malachi Corley. And so it's not that I think like this is the kind of profile that will get like some fantasy production, but I have a hard time seeing where the ceiling is going to come from, because he's not going to be an outside player in the NFL.
Yeah. Oh, I did. I thought I had Elic Ayomanor as a huge winner at the combine. I thought he had a chance to be, he's fast enough. No, he ran really well. The jump numbers were good. I think that he was a sneaky winner to me.
Yeah, top comp for me is Torrey Smith.
Oh, see, that's way better than like a dime store Drake London or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think that he's good. He had a really weird because he only played like 2 years of college,
2 years,
because he was hurt his freshman year. But good size. It's weird to me that like it seems like he's kind of flying under the radar because people are either enamored with Trey Harris or they just kind of shift down to Jaden Higgins. And when you're talking about like the 6'2", bigger bodied, 200 plus pound wideouts, a lot of people are like, oh, I'm really into Trey Harris because of what he did the last couple of years. Or, instead of like paying up, we're just going to shift down a little bit to Jaden Higgins. And then Ayomanor's just kind of sitting there. And I feel like people are just kind of forgetting about him. But I think he's a solid prospect. Like there's a lot of that in this class. The wide receiver class, yeah, I like some of the higher end guys. They're fine, but they're not as good as like what we've had in previous seasons. And
Higgins and Noel made it a lot better. And if Travis Hunter, Noel, sorry. Nice. And then if Travis Hunter plays wide receiver, I mean, we're lit, dude.
Davis, where are you on Travis Hunter?
I went from being, dude, imagine not taking a generational wide receiver to, dude, imagine taking a cornerback, and now I'm back to, dude, imagine not taking the generational talent at wide receiver.
Do you get influenced by like ball watchers and
like Harmon,
former scouts?
No,
that's what one of the former NFL or New York Jet scouts like said, that he's the best he's ever seen at wide receiver.
No disrespect to the ball knowers and the ball watchers, but they know probably some of these people know less about football than I do. And I really just care about what the market thinks and where there are market inefficiencies. And it's pretty clear that there's a market inefficiency with Travis Hunter. Now, I don't know which way it is, but like, so for example, I did my rookie rankings this morning, and the aggregate spot where he's ranked is the first pick of the second round. So 13th overall.
That's super flex or no?
Super flex.
Okay.
Yeah. And so either that is hilarious to be like, why would you take a defensive back there? Or you maybe just got the number one wide receiver in the class there. So
my thing with Hunter is that he's just so hard to prospect analytically because his numbers are not that good. They're not. Like his yards per route run, his career yards per route run is 15th best in the class. His best season yards per route run is like 27th or 29th or something like that. His yards per team pass attempt, not strong, like not bad, but not strong. I have that breakout score metric that I've talked about, which is adjust for age and program strength for receiving yards per team pass attempt. And his breakout score is like 67, which is well lower than the typical first round wide receiver. The typical first round wide receiver is usually in like the 85 to 90 range. And so like everything analytically does not look nearly as good for Travis Hunter as what people probably think based on what his raw numbers looked like last year. And the fact that he won the Biletnikoff, he won the Heisman, like it's Travis Hunter. And I don't know if it's that I like approached it from the perspective of like, this dude is so legit and I was just underwhelmed by what I saw, or if his numbers just really aren't that good. Like and of course, like I think that I have to look at this subjectively and say, this dude probably wasn't in the wide receiver rooms as much as other wide receivers were. He didn't practice the same way that other wide receivers did. So maybe the technique is there and that's what people are seeing. Like Harmon charted him and said he's one of the best wide receivers he's ever charted. And so like that can be there. Those tools could be there, but the production profile is not there at all. And this isn't even like a Lad McConkey had bad raw numbers in terms of receiving yards per team pass attempt, but he was great in yards per route run. Travis Hunter's per route run numbers are not good. Like they're not bad. I'm saying good within the context of how everyone else is talking about him. So to me, it's just the most it's arguably the most difficult evaluation I've ever had. Not just because of like the layering of like what is he going to do? How much is he going to play defense versus offense in the NFL? It's also the fact that he played both ways in college and how did that actually impact his production profile?
All right. So here's my question. Because we've said that you are going to get a better feel about where he should be after he's drafted and the team comes out and and basically gives their plan for him. My question is this: could that change? Could a team draft him on draft night, say he's going to be only a wide receiver, he's going to be a cornerback, mostly wide receiver some, and that change after they say that what their plan is for him?
Yeah, I think it probably will.
It's like, I would say if you let me bet it both ways, -110, bet a lot that it will change over the course of
My-
his rookie
yeah.
season.
My thing is I'm approaching it similar to how we approach like a Caleb Johnson 40, where like if they come out and they say, oh, he's going to play a lot of wide receiver. Similarly, if Caleb Johnson came out and he ran a sub 4.5 40, then we're like, oh boy, it's on, right?
Yep.
Whereas I think the expectation is that they come out and they say he'll play a little bit on offense. He's probably going to mostly play corner to start, but you have to, it's a risk tolerance thing. I do think though that the situations, it's not like he's going to play on running downs and stuff like when teams are going to be running the football, right? So like I don't want I think it would be a mistake for people to overstate like the delta in snaps between other wide receivers, because we should be looking at routes instead of the actual snaps that these guys are going to be playing at wide receiver. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot up in the air, I think, and I'm hoping that once he gets drafted, we're going to at least learn a little bit more.
Neil Orfield's in the chat. He says it's the first time he's caught the show live. Davis did not cut his hair. But he
It's
said
actually
after,
it's just too long.
Yeah.
And I've been running and I can't run with my hair this long with it down.
So cut it.
It's up in a bun.
No.
Honestly, just too lazy. Like, frankly, too lazy to go find nice
That's
hair
his
cutting
staple.
place
It's his
and
staple.
go do it. Yeah.
And guys like Neil might get mad at Davis for having long hair, but that's just,
To have hair again.
Hey,
It's
Neil, you've been running, dude. You said you're gonna run. Said you're gonna run 1,000 miles this year.
I saw that,
Neil,
which is a lot of miles, Neil. A lot of
Yeah.
miles.
yeah.
It's not that many miles.
It's a good number of miles.
It's not. It's 2.5 a day.
Neil,
Ish.
since
I
Pete's not here, Neil.
I ran a half last year. I understand how long it is, but I'm saying, like,
Davis, you ever ran a half
I
marathon?
feel like Adrian Brody at the Oscars. I've been here before.
I have ran a half marathon before. Yeah.
I have not. This is going to shock you. I've never ran more than 4 miles.
You should do it. Make that a goal.
My left knee has like 0 meniscus. So like,
Dave-
it feels like an
running-
excuse.
Running is very easy. You just put your shoes on and then you go outside and you just take some steps and then you just do
No.
that for a while and then you come home.
I'd rather work on this barrel chest, to be honest.
Just get your Peloton back on, baby.
I do need to get the Peloton back on. Yeah. All right. And Neil, if you want to say something, just a rebuttal for Pete's rude comments towards you, here's your chance with him not being on the show.
There you go.
Yes. I know Tajay Spears has no ACLs. I imagine that
George,
Tajay Spears also is not running more than 3 or 4 miles at a time. That's just my guess.
I bet he could though.
I mean, I bet I could too.
Then do it.
Just from mental fortitude.
His barrel chest is holding him back.
Did I ever tell you that I ran the half last year and some people had recognized me before I started running, like just from the podcast and stuff.
Wow.
And I was
Whoa.
that's not why I'm telling the story.
Whoa,
So
that's
I'm-
awesome, JJ.
That's not at all why I'm telling that story.
My gosh.
So I'm running the half and it gets to like mile 11 and a half. And I'm like probably 10 to 15 seconds faster than my pace. I did not pace myself well at all. And I get to I like hit the wall at like mile 11 and a half. One of the dudes passes me. And as he's passing me, I got my headphones in and stuff, but I can hear him. He goes, "Come on, JJ, do it for Bijan, man."
I thought you were gonna go. He did the horns. I thought you were gonna say.
I thought he was
That
going
would
to
be
go, thanks for
horns.
tuning
That would
in,
be good.
bit, you know, something like that.
That'd be great.
A vlog series about Dave training for a half marathon could get the Swolecast to 10K. It actually
That would
probably
be a
wouldn't.
great series.
It would probably completely dust us in the algorithm, but
That's
it
true.
would be it would at least be funny.
That'd
I
be
think
good.
the blog
Start it-
series
start a
about-
TikTok.
About me getting to my 225 to 10 times would be a little bit better.
Dave,
I'm
I
telling
benched, I benched 225, no spotter, 2 reps yesterday.
That's good. I did 65s on my third set. Wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, that would. I mean, I felt that way when I was finishing that race. My God, I dropped to like an 11-minute mile the last couple.
Also, the YouTube comments last week way more in my favor as far as barrel chest being a positive connotation. I'm not sure if did you read the comments last week, Davis?
I normally don't read the comments.
I
They're
heard the
usually-
conversation. I thought Kitchen was correct.
Thank you.
I don't think people think of like Elon Musk's weird deformity as barrel chested.
What about
Yeah.
a vlog series of Dave visiting historically Southern campus? That could be Dave. You could go on Jack Settleman's channel. You could go on Jack's on the Snapback Sports channel, and you guys could go to you guys could go to a Vanderbilt game. You guys could go to an Ole Miss game. Who else?
Ole
What's
Miss, your
another good-
favorite? Yeah, Auburn.
Auburn. You could come to my neck of the woods. You could go to Missouri. Almost no school has a more racist history than the University of Missouri at Columbia. So
One of
might
my
be a good
basketball
idea.
teammates is the head coach at Tennessee State University, which is an HBCU. So
HBCU.
could do that and debunk the stereotype that you guys are trying
Now-
to put on me.
Now, this is definitely true from Wilby. There are certainly more people that
Yes.
can run a half marathon that can bench. I mean, I would say there are more people that can run a half marathon than bench 225.
But you have to put a parameter around the time for a half marathon. If you're going to put a parameter of weight and a bench, because many people can bench 50 pounds 10 times, but
Okay.
how many people can run a half in?
I was going to say
150?
Well, I was going to say 3 hours because 3 hours is basically the pace to do where there's no walking.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people could probably do that.
I did. When I did it in 2 hours and 45 minutes. I was totally untrained. I just did it just to
Oh,
say
you
I
just
could
went
do
and
it.
did it. I did it in about
Yeah.
two. I did it in about 2.
I mean, I didn't even do it in a half marathon. I just did it. I just was like, I just want to prove to myself that I can do it. 220, I would say benching 225 harder than any running I've ever done though. Way more difficult. Because there's form.
Yeah, but again, it depends on speed. Depends on how hard you're going.
Yes. Sure.
Agreed though. Running's just
Okay.
different.
I mean,
But JJ
running is less fun for sure.
But JJ's a nationally ranked Peloton guy.
I can crush
true.
it on Peloton.
Yeah, up on the leaderboard.
So, are you like, how are you, JJ, right now, as far as historically on your Peloton journey?
Probably like up to about 95% of what I
But do you think you'll ever beat that? Or do you think
where
you're
I
like
was.
on the
No, I
down-
did. There was
on the
one ride.
downswing?
I did a 20-minute ride maybe a year and a half ago, and I got 350 output on that ride. And I don't think I'll ever do that again.
So you're
But-
on the tail end of your Peloton career, is what you're
Probably,
saying.
but I try to get more like weightlifting in and stuff now than I used to, and not. I'm trying to get more well-rounded, doing more
Are you a
lifting,
Huber?
running.
Tell me you're you're probably not a Huber bro, but I bet you read Outlive.
Of course, I read Outlive. Yeah,
Oh, he's a
Okay,
big
all right.
Attia guy.
I'm a
Okay,
huge Attia
yeah.
guy. Yeah,
Attia is like Huberman for guys who didn't do drugs when they were in high school. I think.
yeah.
Attia-
Huberman's a little bit too much for me. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
I love that shit because Huberman. This is my thing on Huberman. I think Huberman and I would actually be really good friends in real life because I think he's a little crazy. I think
Oh, he's
deep
definitely crazy.
I think deep inside of Huberman, there's a hole that he can't fill, and he tries to fill it with all of this other extraneous stuff. So it's all in or all out.
Yeah.
You know, which
Attia's
which I
Attia's
love.
reformed though. Attia used to have like bad temper and like couldn't like he talked.
Oh
about
yes,
it, but now
Yeah,
he's like
his book's great.
clearly like reformed and not what he used to be, and now he's super chill and stuff. But yeah, I
Yeah.
love yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
as
seen?
as he knows, he as the neighborhood
Yeah,
knows,
exactly.
he fills
That's
it
what
with
I'm gonna
affairs.
say. Him and I would get along well. Meanwhile, he's
We
like all
would.
over the news and
We would. I don't condone that behavior, but there's just no way around it. Like he grew up reading Thrasher and skateboarding and like smoking pot. Like Andrew Huberman and I would get along. It just is what it is.
Have you
I'm
seen
not ashamed
Brian?
of it.
doing freestyles.
Have you seen Brian Johnson recently?
Yes. Yeah.
He
Not
looks weird. Like, if that's what anti-aging is, I'm out.
Well,
Is there
he
new-
also
Is there an
What's
update?
that?
What do you mean recently?
He's doing like this
Always look weird.
skincare. Yeah, but he's doing like this skincare routine where he says his skin is like, like 20 years ago, basically. But if you look at him, he almost looks like a AI vampire.
I feel like he's always looked like that.
Someone made a really good point. I saw this I saw this on the For You page, which did actually show me something good. Speaking of Huberman, there he is. Brian Johnson, like 300 years ago, like in the Victorian period, would have just been like a total whack job loser who like had the big house at the end of the lane, and you're like, oh, don't go to old man Johnson's house. But now, because we're in this new era where we worship wealth, because we're such a hyper capitalist society, that he's like trying to imbue societal relevance to his own personal insanity, because his big deal is, Peter had me listen to this podcast interview he did, which was interesting. His deal is he thinks that artificial intelligence, like ChatGPT and these large language learning models, is going to like change humanity. His whole deal is, I want to align myself as much as possible with AI, because AI is going to solve death. That's his whole bit. Weird guy.
Yeah.
Weird
guy.
Weird guy.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you don't think he looks weird there? I feel like, how old is he?
He's like 48.
48? Something like that?
Oh, Reshi says he's taking estrogen, which I would believe. I would believe he thinks that can help him.
Well, if you look, like, the videos that he does, it's different than, like, I saw him on like someone else's video. He was I think he was eating with somebody, but like it just looks like he's got filters on his face, like in real time.
Why doesn't he just do what Paul Rudd does? Then he'll just
does Paul
living
Rudd
a normal life and still not age.
Oh, well, that's a very good point. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not so much into the Brian John. I would say number one is Goggins. I mean, Goggins is, if you were to follow one influencer, I would say follow David Goggins. That would do.
I find it hilarious.
That does it for you?
It's hilarious that you're a Goggins guy, Dave.
Because
I would have never predicted that.
I am an excuse maker. I'm an
okay.
excuse. I will give myself. I will say, oh, you had a hard day. You're having a tough week. It's fine. You and
there's like an app.
Some people.
There's like an app that yells at you, like that motivates you.
See, I like the Attia path so much, because my motivation is like being able to do things with my kids when I'm older and stuff like that,
functional.
and like that's like his focus. Like that's what
100%.
Yeah.
And I agree with all of. I'm all about the health span. I want my health span to be about as long as my lifespan. I want to be golfing when I'm 75. I want to be skateboarding when I'm 50, all that stuff. But exactly, you do not need motivation. You need discipline. And there is no better. To me, the Goggins stuff is really, it's like almost Buddhist in its application, which like you would never apply that to what you think of what Goggins is, but it is. It's what is around you doesn't matter. What's in your own mind doesn't even matter. You just have to do the thing. There is no, there is do or do not. There is no try, right? And that is Goggins.
Goggins is a little too serious for me.
Me too. Little, but also,
well, it's life and death, Dave.
To me, it's not. He's not as like motivating as motivating to me. Like that style. Like if you like,
just doesn't work for you.
For Peloton users, like Alex Toussaint on Peloton.
Are you an Alex guy? I'm an Alex guy.
No, I love Alex. Yeah, but I'm saying like he motivates in that like yelling at you kind of manner, right? But it's also like a coming from the heart way. Whereas Goggins is like, no, just like you got like it's just a different angle and approach than that. No, I mean I like a lot of the Peloton instructors are great. They're all very different, which is nice.
Yeah, but if you have a go-to, who is it?
Probably on the bike, probably Sam. Probably Sam Yo.
Sam's like the opposite of Alex. He's like
I know, zen. But Sam I like Sam because his programs are good. Like his rides are good. Alex is like, if I need someone to sort of beat me up a little bit, I'll go do an Alex
Yeah.
ride. You know,
Well,
there's a lot of health influencers out there. One guy that I've watched a lot on TikTok recently is that Higher Up Wellness dude. Have you seen him? He's like in his
No.
like late 20s, and he is just practical, like super practical about it. I'd check him out.
I really like for practical stuff. I like Nippert. Jeff Nippert is the best for like just super practical. Like you're just a normal guy,
Right?
living your life. I disagree with the Jocko over Goggins thing. Jocko he seems less authentic to me, but
I mean, okay. They're like in the same category.
you would be more of you would be more of a Jocko guy.
The guy
They're
who
just
won
like-
Ole Miss and
No.
Yeah, Dave, what's the difference between Jocko and
No, I
Goggins,
already said
huh?
Alex. I already said Alex was my favorite Peloton instructor. So don't.
loves Cam Skattebo too, I bet.
No. Okay. All right.
It's life or death, Dave. That's what I
it
like
is.
about Goggins.
Can you
It's-
highlight the
don't-
neighborhoods comment? Because this is how like Goggins would talk to you about like.
No,
Yeah.
I see. I think that's a bit of a misnomer. I think what he'd say is,
Don't listen to it.
I think what Goggins would say is, you want to lose weight, stop eating. You want to run faster, go running. You want to get a barrel chest, go lift. You want your business to succeed, take a class, take a course, work harder. Get this out. It's just no excuses.
Yeah,
Let's
draft
get-
better.
Someone said
Draft
let's get
better.
Kitchen sponsored by one of these wellness influencers.
That would be an unbelievable bit. Would be Socrdave with like one of these people with like 100,000 YouTube subscribers, and they go to Planet Fitness with Dave, and Dave explains to them his workout.
I've been trying to get Kitchen to contact Peloton for sponsorship of the brand.
If we could have like a fantasy football like section of Peloton and somehow gamify it.
Yeah.
Like you have 1,440 people on a ride, and like the first 120 would get like the first overall pick in their draft.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. But people also would just cheat on their settings.
Can you do that?
JJ, please.
Sounds like someone knows.
JJ,
I'm
please.
Like, what
You don't have to. You don't have to play dumb.
do you think I'm cheating?
No, I didn't say that.
Chad
just saying.
knows. Chad says the problem is you can mess with your Peloton calibration to game
Yeah.
the system.
Yeah, I don't touch the calibration stuff.
Dave, while you're reaching out for partnerships,
Yeah.
just if you knew someone,
You've already told me this. I don't know anybody at Coca-Cola to get a partnership.
how is there not one person in the history of this Swolecast who knows someone, or who knows someone who knows someone who works in Diet Coke marketing?
How many do you drink a day?
Oh, maybe one. I'm not.
I didn't know if you were like a fiend. Although
I am a fiend.
The
It's the
aspartame
only.
thing is very overblown. Like
Of course,
scientifically.
It's the only non-water and black coffee beverage I have in my house. Or I guess I have some sugar-free energy drinks too. No free promo.
Sugar-free energy drinks? Those are bad for you.
You know what my go-to is Fresca. That stuff is
Fresca. Now, JJ,
Really?
you
So
could
good.
definitely get a
Fresca?
It's so
That's
good.
That's what you have when you've got a cold or something.
No,
Like,
dude, guys, anyone in chat, anyone, either one of you, have a Fresca, have a GD Fresca. They are so good. See, they're so good. They're so good.
Frescas
Have
are
one.
the things that you'll drink when they're there at the party, but you're never going to buy them yourself.
No, you buy them
You
yourself.
could definitely get a Fresca partnership. Let me tell you, that marketing department is really small. That
Yeah.
you could definitely do.
I feel like we could probably find that's because I don't really drink that much anymore. So my like when I'm grilling and stuff, I'm cracking open a Fresca,
An ice cold Fresca.
ice cold Fresca. I got a fridge out back now by my grill, and I just have it filled with Fresca.
Diet Coke is not bad for you.
Fresca is also under the Coca-Cola brand. So
Can we? I'm just, dude. Can I?
And I'm the Coke
please-
Zero guy. We'll see what we
Diet
can do.
Coke, Chipotle tweets, bum energy drink. I would move units. I would become a walking.
I
Diet
think it'd be
Coke
much
advertisement.
easier for like the Relight hydration mix than it would be for a Coca-Cola brand sponsorship on your pod.
I could get an LMNT brand affiliate code or whatever.
I would sponsor the you know what out of Fresca, man. Fresca is so not.
Come on, we
talked way
Get
more
outta here.
football.
Yeah.
Historical
Dude,
anomalies. You know the show.
Luther Burden is the Fresca of this draft class.
I don't even know if
See.
that's good or bad.
Just
Yeah.
it's great. That's it.
Well, in JJ's mind, it's great because he loves Fresca.
that's right.
He
Wow.
also loves Luther Burden.
Ryan's probably running while watching this. Stay hard.
All
Good
right,
for you,
we
Ryan.
got to wrap this show up. So we just want to say thanks to JJ. JJ, do you have anything to plug while you're on the show?
No.
No.
No,
You don't
go
have
to lateround.com. Pre-order that prospect guide. It launches on Monday, but we may send it out even before that time frame.
Yeah.
If David gets all his colors and his
the
his
colors
lorem
work
ipsum
out,
done.
Yeah. I basically
All
have
the
Dave. I have him working on like Severance type stuff where he just is looking at a computer screen. And
Davis doesn't understand that.
How do you
He
not
doesn't-
watch Severance?
My wife doesn't really like prestige television, so I
You
always
just
watch
trash.
these.
Love is
I wa-
blind.
I just watch these things like a million years
Yeah.
late.
Mm.
This prospect guide is the Cold Harbor of prospect guides out there. So
Yeah.
people will get that. Your innies will thank you. And also sign up for the newsletter because it's been going good. I've been sending out a fun little newsletter on Fridays that people it seems like they're enjoying it. JJ sending out some stuff as well. So it's going good. Davis, what do you have going on?
I will be streaming immediately after this, although I did just try and log in on Underdog and it said that I've been locked out of my account. So,
Ruh-roh.
well, this was happening to people yesterday. So they're having something is going wrong with their mechanics. Because I'm literally logged in on my phone right now. So
It's called responsible gaming. Okay, and with that, we'll see you next time. And also, before we do that, shout out to IKB, ikb.gg. They got pick'ems. They got when you do your salary cap stuff, it's the same as DraftKings. So good stuff. Shout out to Andy there with IKB. And we'll see you next week here on the Swolecast. Peace.
are you David Mattek from the Swolecast? I was like, yep, that's me.
I just want you guys to know I'm total dust. I'm the problem.
Hear ye, hear ye.
Leave it to the guy with the crypto dunes, Abby, to not understand context.
I should have known you getting 30 likes was directly written by someone else.
You know me, I don't do a ton of research before the show.
I've put no research into this. Don't know if it's true at all.
You're on the right show.
Anecdotal tape.
To it, bro. Live a little.
Live a little.
Just live a little, guys.